Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Thursday is now a WRAL weather alert day due to a level 2 severe weather threat. I'll have a closer look at the timing coming up.
A Wake County road remains closed hours after a head-on collision involving 2 trucks. We're live near that scene with what we know.
Also, a key witness for the prosecution takes a stand in former President Trump's hush money trial. What he said about Stormy Daniels' testimony before today's hearing.
A monster tornado is blamed for severe destruction overnight in the town of Sullivan, Missouri. It's right near St. Louis. A bar and a high school were blown to bits by a massive storm. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. The powerful cold front that brought severe storms to the plains yesterday should arrive here by Thursday. Meteorologist Kat Campbell is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at what this front will bring to our area. Kat.
Well, for some comparison, some areas were under a level 4 or even level 5 out of 5 severe weather threat yesterday. We're under a level 2 threat, but we could see some severe weather, especially damaging wind gusts and hail. The timing looks like it'll be late in the afternoon into Thursday evening. And all of our viewing area is under a level 2 severe weather threat on Thursday. That's why it's a WRAL weather alert day. Let's talk about the differences, though, between Thursday and what we could see today and tomorrow. Both today and tomorrow, we're under a level 1 threat for severe storms. But today, there's only a small chance that you would see a storm in the first place, about a 30% chance later this evening. That chance a bit more scattered tomorrow at 40%. But Thursday, the storms will be more widespread, about a 50% chance of storms, and the atmosphere more primed for storms to develop in the first place. That's because the cold front closes in on Thursday and provides a trigger for those thunderstorms to develop, and we'll have a ripe atmosphere for strengthening. It's still a ways away from us. Today, there's no clear trigger in place for storms to form in the first place. We have a few spotty showers in parts of Chatham, Lee, and Harnett counties. No big deal with those showers out there today. And hour-by-hour rain chances for the next several hours, pretty low at 20%, going up to 30% later on this evening. I'll have a closer look at tomorrow and Thursday's storm timeline on Futurecasts coming up.
Kat, thanks. Wake County Road remains closed this noon hour after a head-on collision involving a dump truck and a gas truck. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is right near the scene, just south of Knightdale, with what we know about this crash. Sean?
Yeah, Jeff, we are probably about a quarter mile away, maybe less, from this crash that you can see right here behind me. This is as close as they would let us get, but you can see still a lot of activity out there, a lot of lights. We actually just saw not too long ago 2 large tow trucks back there for the gas truck and also that dump truck, and then also a large flatbed truck as well, as crews continue to work on this scene. But take a look above from Sky 5 earlier this morning. You can see just how devastating this head-on crash is. The 2 large trucks, they're crashing head-on. Raleigh Fire telling me they had their hazmat team called out here because of fuel spilling. According to police radio transmissions, they estimate about 10 gallons of fuel spilled during this crash, which is right near the Neuse River. Now, we are waiting for confirmation from State Highway Patrol to learn what, if any, injuries there are from this crash and how severe they are. Now, back out here live, you can see this part of the road is blocked off. It's blocked off for about 2 miles down the road, which is right near the Neuse River. There is a bridge that comes off over there. But I did just get off the phone with the Department of Transportation. They tell me this roadway is going to be closed a long time. They did bring out crews probably within the last hour and a half to block off this section, but they tell me they anticipate that this road is going to be closed for the better part of the day. Should expect it to be open probably around 3:30, 4:30 this afternoon, Jeff.
A lot of cleanup and a lot of investigation still to do. Sean Gallagher live for us right at that scene in Knightdale. Thank you. Sky 5 also flew over an accident over I-85 north near Hillendale Road in Durham. You can see a vehicle on its roof there. This was around 10:30 this morning, and at the time we were told the road would be closed for 3 hours. No word on the cause of the crash or the condition of the driver.
This morning, we're learning more about the Fuquay-Varina man accused of killing a woman in Wake County. Noah Lorenzetti is facing first-degree murder charges. WRAL's Eric Miller joins us live outside the Wake County Courthouse. And Eric, what else do we know about the investigation?
Oh, Renee, right now, Lorenzetti is being held in the Wake County Detention Center without bond and is due to make his first appearance in court here tomorrow afternoon. You take a look at his mugshot here. Lorenzetti was arrested just hours after this murder happened. All of this playing out after 11 a.m. yesterday on Camley Avenue. That's a heavily wooded neighborhood just off of Blue Ridge Road outside the Beltline in Wake County. Wake County deputies found the body of 24-year-old Tyra Bennett there among the trees. Investigators are still piecing together what exactly happened there and what Bennett's relationship was with Lorenzetti. But we know those deputies were on scene there for hours, poring over evidence. That neighborhood completely sealed off behind crime scene 10. Now again, Lorenzetti will be here in court tomorrow afternoon, 1:30 p.m. We'll be watching very closely to see what happens there. Renee?
Announcing the arrest, a significant step in this investigation. Eric Miller, thank you.
Former adult film star Stormy Daniels is now on the stand in Donald Trump's hush money criminal trial in New York. Daniels is describing what she says happened when she says she met Trump in a hotel room. The trial centers on a $130,000 payment to Daniels made by Trump's former attorney Michael Cohen to keep an alleged affair quiet. Last night he posted objections to Daniels' testimony, saying his lawyers didn't have time to prepare. He later removed the post. Trump has been charged with falsifying business records in an effort to cover up those alleged hush money payments. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. We're also learning more about the former president's classified documents case. According to recently unsealed court filings, Trump's valet, Walt Nauta, told investigators before the search that he randomly chose boxes of documents to return to the National Archives. His account was corroborated by a second witness. They both said Trump told them when enough boxes were handed over and not to give the National Archives any more.
New within the last 20 minutes, the Sampson County Sheriff's Office says one of its deputies was stabbed after a chase. Deputies shot the suspect. WRAL's Noah Klein is here now with how this started and what we know about the investigation. Noah.
Renee, those new details just coming in here. The chase started in Sampson County at a home in Salemburg. The Sheriff's Office says someone in that house called saying there was a woman outside with a knife. When deputies arrived, they say that woman took off. Sampson County deputies, Highway Patrol, and the Bladen County Sheriff's officers chased that car all the way to the White Lake area just outside of city limits. That chase ended when officers used stop sticks. Take a look at this video here. This is what that scene looked like earlier this morning. You see multiple agencies investigating the crime scene tape up. The Sampson County Sheriff says his deputies, along with Bladen County deputies, fired shots after that stabbing. The woman currently at a hospital in New Hanover County. A dog in that area was also shot and has died. The SBI here is investigating this case. Still working to learn the name of the woman involved as well as those deputies who fired shots.
Noah Klein with a lot of new information on this. Noah, thank you.
This morning, North Carolina's candidates for governor clashed on whether schools need more funding. Republican nominee Mark Robinson and Democratic nominee Josh Stein addressed the Public School Forum of North Carolina's annual Eggs and Issues breakfast. Robinson wants to cut funding from schools and move it to teacher pay.
We've got to pay our teachers better. We've got to come up with some ways where we can reduce waste on one end and not take that money and shift it to anything else. I think we should honestly take our budget and look at it, and whatever we could cut, we should cut it and not move it to somewhere else, but move it directly to teacher pay.
We are 49th in the country in what we invest in K-12 as a share of our state's economy, 49th. 46th in starting teacher pay, worse than every neighboring state that borders North Carolina. Those statistics are a disgrace.
School funding has already been a major sticking point in the first couple of weeks of the General Assembly's short session. Lawmakers are now debating new budget requests, including tuition money for private school students.
Governor Roy Cooper is asking Republican lawmakers to stop putting money towards school vouchers. He says public schools, not private schools, should be the legislature's top priority. Cooper says the $500 million Republican lawmakers want to give in vouchers next year could pay for a lot, including 8.5% teacher raises, bonuses, and hundreds of new positions for school nurses and teacher assistants. But the governor says they're choosing instead to put that money into vouchers for wealthier families who don't need help from taxpayers.
This latest larceny, and that's what it is on top of the hundreds of millions in taxpayer money they've already siphoned out of our public schools for vouchers. It's shockingly irresponsible.
Last year, Republican lawmakers voted to remove the income limit on the private school voucher program. Thousands of higher income families applied and are currently on a wait list. Republican legislative leaders have said clearing that wait list is one of their top priorities this session.
Today, you can learn more about job opportunities in the town of Clayton. The town is hosting an open house hiring event from 3:30 to 6:30 today. It's happening at Town Hall on East 2nd Street. Representatives from several town departments will talk about job opportunities and benefits. Full and part-time jobs are available, as well as internships.
Next at noon, a terrifying night for people in the central part of the country. The destruction left behind from tornadoes and severe storms in several states.
Also, a Social Security shortfall. How close the government says it is to not being able to pay out benefits.
Plus, a teaspoon of sugar might help the medicine go down, but a tablespoon of olive oil could lower your risk for dementia. At 12:30, how olive oil could help you live longer.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Russian President Vladimir Putin was sworn in this morning for a new 6-year term. The U.S. ambassador to Russia did not attend the ceremony. Putin's already been in office for nearly a quarter century, making him the longest-serving Kremlin leader since Joseph Stalin. The question now is what the 71-year-old will do over the course of another 6 years, both at home and abroad. His new term doesn't expire until 2030, when he will constitutionally be eligible not to run again. Meanwhile, 2 Ukrainian security officials are being detained for allegedly planning to assassinate Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Both Ukrainian State Secret Service colonels were exposed for treason, with one of them also charged for aiding in the preparation of a terrorist act. According to the investigation, the men voluntarily helped the Russian Federation carry out subversive activities against Ukraine in exchange for money.
When a South Florida woman realized she was the victim of a smash and grab robbery, she didn't pick up the phone and call police. Instead, Muriel Vargas hopped in her car and took matters into her own hands. She collided right there with another vehicle when she spotted a man walking down the street with her bag. Surveillance video shows how, after the crash, she walked over and confronts the guy, punches him, and eventually she pulls away what belonged to her.
It wasn't because of the cash value. It was my mom's picture was in my wallet, and my mom passed away 8 years ago. So that was a sentimental value for me that I needed to recover.
The suspect was booked with a black eye, and turns out he's a guy with a long criminal history, a list of prior arrests. Vargas says she has no regrets, but realizes it was a risky thing to do. Vargas was ticketed for the crash, but other than the suspect's black eye, no one was hurt.
Glad she got the picture back.
Yeah.
It was a terrifying night across the central part of the country. Severe storms spawning destructive tornadoes that tore through several states. NBC's Sam Brock reports at least one person is dead in Barnesville, Oklahoma, and dozens of homes destroyed.
This morning, fears of a violent tornado outbreak across the plains turned into a devastating reality. With the 1,000-person town of Barnesville, Oklahoma, still reeling from a tornado just 1 month ago, overrun by an incredibly dangerous and powerful twister overnight. The local sheriff says one person's confirmed dead and multiple are injured, though it's not clear exactly how many.
I got you.
There were rescues too, including at this nursing home, though the center says all residents are okay.
We saw some wrecked cars and then saw this house completely off of its foundation, just obliterated over here.
The destructive aftermath of a probable long-track tornado. Stretching all the way to nearby Bartlesville, where this Hampton Inn saw its roof collapse. The fear felt all over Oklahoma as tornado sirens blared overnight and more. The worst part of the storm striking in the middle of the night, hitting not just Oklahoma, but at least a half dozen other states.
If you have any sort of helmet to protect your head, go ahead and put that helmet on.
Residents left with no choice but to shelter in place. Some tornadoes traveling as fast as 60 miles an hour.
Right there.
In Tennessee, another twister uprooted trees, downed power lines, and ripped roofs right off homes.
Oh yeah, I got this house. Got everything through here.
The storm's now marking 6 straight weeks of severe weather across the country.
We know how spring is an extremely active time for severe weather, and we are watching that play out in other parts of the country.
I've never heard the helmet thing. I guess it makes sense by whatever means necessary to stay safe. That's incredible. And that line is moving this way. Kat Campbell's in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with what she's watching.
And, I just want to assure folks that we're not going to see a level 5 threat like folks in Oklahoma were under yesterday. So the threat's not that high. But as this system moves closer to us, we will have the threat for severe weather on Thursday. Thursday is a WRAL weather alert day. During the afternoon and evening, we could see some severe storms, damaging wind gusts, and hail will be possible. At this point, it's too early to say that tornadoes will be a risk here. We're going to monitor that risk with some new high-resolution model data that we'll get in later this afternoon. So check in for an update on any potential tornado risks starting at 4 o'clock after I review that data. The impacts, it would be storms possible for the evening commute and perhaps some power outages if any of those strong wind gusts do materialize. There were a lot of storm reports out in the Midwest over the past 12 hours. Tornadoes reported, of course, in Oklahoma. We had that tornado near St. Louis that unfortunately caused a lot of damage as well. This is a reminder that when you look at all the months of the year in North Carolina, May is the #1 month for tornadoes. So we're going to keep an eye on this system for you, and we'll keep an eye on any severe weather threat throughout the month. But it's a good reminder to review your severe weather safety plan with your family. So here comes the front. We are going to see another wave of low pressure develop along that front. There are some storms in Tennessee right now. We saw some rain earlier this morning, even a few rumbles of thunder near the South Carolina line. I think that we're going to see a lull in the rain activity this afternoon. Perhaps an isolated storm develops later this evening, and given how hot and humid it is outside, there is a low-end chance that there could be a severe storm later this evening. Tomorrow, a slightly greater coverage of storms during the afternoon and evening. We're going with about a 40% chance of storms tomorrow. A level 1 out of 5 severe weather threat tomorrow. Damaging wind gusts and hail will be possible. But here comes the front on Thursday. One thing that we're going to keep an eye on that I've noticed on most of the model data that's come in midday today is the potential for a round of some showers, perhaps some storms earlier in the morning. We'll watch to see what that does to the atmosphere. And then as we get into the afternoon, this is as far out as this high resolution futurecast goes. But here's those storms starting to develop that would eventually track to the north and east. So it's later in the day, Thursday, we'd have that main threat. And the good news here is we need the rain. The bad news is we don't want any severe storms, but we do have rain chances and storm chances in the days ahead. So you may get a break from watering your garden finally. We're definitely off to a wetter start to May than what we saw out there last month. It's 80 degrees already in Durham. You can see a bright blue sky. What a beautiful day there at the DBAP, 80 in Raleigh and 77 in Fayetteville. Over the next 7 days, we've got more heat ahead. We're talking 92 for the high tomorrow. And then as we get to Thursday, that's the day we're really watching for our severe weather threat. Still some storms around on Friday, and then over Mother's Day weekend, we're cooling off. Sunday, a chance of an isolated storm. That chance only 30% for Mother's Day with highs near 80. Renee and Jeff.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, President Biden just wrapped up his speech. He gave a keynote speech at the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Days of Remembrance ceremony in Washington, D.C. He spoke about October 7th and the attack on Israel, as well as the rise in anti-Semitism across the country. He drew connections between the Holocaust and October 7th. He also spoke about the protests happening across the country on college campuses. And he said, "I know we have the right to freedom of speech, but violence is not acceptable." Take a listen.
But there is no place on any campus in America, any place in America, for anti-Semitism or hate speech or threats of violence of any kind.
The president also went on to say that his administration is working around the clock to free hostages, and they will not rest until they bring them home.
For nearly 2 decades, the people who live in one eastern North Carolina town have not been able to drink their tap water. The problem that started in 2006 still unresolved. Today at 4, how a new violation has put water quality issues front of mind for town leaders.
Then at 6, when mental health facilities like Raleigh's Holly Hill get in trouble for care, the public never knows. WRAL investigates the call for more transparency to find help for those who need it. That's at 6. And still ahead this noon, after many scary situations on airplanes this year, the FAA is launching a new investigation into Boeing. Why regulators are looking into whether some employees falsified aircraft records. Also,
I like to think of it as like a driving photo booth, because no matter where you go, when you park, people are going to want to come and take a picture right next to it, right?
If you're looking for an eye-catching vehicle, we have just the ride for you. But you better get your bids in quick. The cost of school breakfast and lunch in Wake County may be going up again. Today, the school board will talk about a proposal to raise all meal prices by a quarter next school year. The cost for elementary school breakfasts and lunches would go up to $1.75 and $3.50. Middle and high schoolers would pay $2 for breakfast and $3.75 for lunch. Board members will talk about the proposal today, but they will not put it to a vote.
the FAA is launching a new investigation into Boeing. It's looking into whether the company properly inspected its Dreamliner fleet. The probe will also look into whether employees falsified aircraft records. Regulators say a Boeing engineer came forward last month with quality control allegations about several Boeing models, including the Dreamliner. During the investigation, the FAA says Boeing employees will inspect the Dreamliners not yet delivered to airline customers. They will also develop a plan for the planes that are currently flying.
If Congress doesn't act quickly to address the pending shortfalls in Social Security, the government will not be able to pay full benefits by 2035. According to the Entitlement Program's Trustees Annual Report, it says the combined Social Security trust funds are expected to be exhausted in just over 10 years. Meanwhile, Medicare funds are expected to be able to cover scheduled inpatient hospital benefits until 2036. Last year, around 67 million Americans received Social Security benefits. Both President Biden and former President Trump have promised during their campaigns to protect Social Security and Medicare. Many homebuyers consider the proximity to their mother before deciding to purchase. Nearly half of adults in the U.S. have moved or plan to move themselves or their mom in order to be closer to each other. Of those surveyed, 14% have already moved to be closer to their mother figure, and 15% are planning to do the same.
Disney Plus is reporting its first quarterly profit since the streaming service launched in 2019. It was a surprise for investors because Disney had forecast the division wouldn't reach profitability for about another 6 months. Some analysts and investors were skeptical it would happen that soon. Disney Plus added more than 6 million subscribers, excluding India, during its latest quarter. That brings its total number of subscribers to nearly 118 million. Nintendo plans to announce the successor to the Switch by next March after forecasting a big drop in profit this year. The Switch, which was launched 7 years ago, is one of Nintendo's most successful pieces of hardware, with sales of more than 140 million units. Sony and Microsoft, though, have since launched new versions of PlayStation and Xbox. Nintendo has been pushing its Switch online subscription service to get new customers to buy the Switch and build a broad base for the next generation console.
Experts say bacteria living on fruit can make you very sick. We share the best way to wash your produce to keep you and your family healthy coming up. But first, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Right now, President Biden is delivering an address at the Holocaust Museum's Day of Remembrance ceremony. His speech comes on the same day that police dismantled another pro-Palestinian encampment, this time on the campus of the University of Chicago. Before dawn, officers with the University Police Department entered the encampment and began taking down tents and other structures. The protesters were ordered to leave or face charges. One protester called their actions cowardly.
The cops stormed in when everyone was asleep. They violently tore apart the camp. They were throwing chairs, wood planks everywhere. One chair almost hit my girlfriend in the head, a metal chair. They had no regard whatsoever. All they were interested in doing was making sure that they could shut this movement down as fast as possible.
So far, there have been no reported injuries or arrests.
Higher pay for your child's teacher will be a top concern when the Wake County School Board votes on its budget today. WRAL's Laura Levine tells us school leaders say they need more money than the county is offering them.
Wake County school leaders will meet here later this afternoon to deliberate on that final proposal. They're going to ask the county commissioners for a $63.2 million increase in school funding. This comes after the county manager proposed a $49 million increase, which is less than the increase the school board was asking for. This comes, as you can see, employees have recently rallied for better pay. The board's request is largely to maintain existing operations, but with two changes: increasing employee pay and to cover costs for new employees hired using one-time federal money that's about to go away. During walk-ins last week, educators told me that the raises are crucial.
I feel that we're all overlooked. My students are special education who ride special transportation to school. All of these contracts, all of these bus drivers, everyone, our assistants are so vital to getting our students the education they need every single day.
We'll have to wait and see what happens this afternoon. That meeting begins at 2:30. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Cary.
Also today is National Teacher Day, and Wake County Schools has named its Teacher of the Year.
Students, teachers, and staff celebrated Ryan Berglund at Millbrook Magnet High School this morning. Berglund teaches agriculture education. He is also a Millbrook High alum and the only teacher in North Carolina certified as a welding inspector. Berglund overcame struggles with dyslexia and short-term memory loss before becoming an educator. He now teaches students how to develop their work ethic in and out of the classroom.
That's the number one thing I have is work ethic. And if you try your best and try so hard, you can make things happen. And so I always dedicate as much possible time. I tell everyone you got plenty of time to sleep when you're dead. Okay. So we got to give every moment while we're here.
Love his encouraging words. Berglund is receiving a 2024 Chevy Tahoe for a year to celebrate this recognition and a whole host of prizes. Congratulations to him. Well, you've seen recent self-checkout changes. For example, Target recently limited customers to just 10 items in the self-checkout lane.
Now, this is an all-out effort to reduce theft, and one state wants to take matters into its own hands. Tom Vicar shares how a bill proposed in California could reduce theft and save jobs.
Welcome. If you have your LA Senator Lola Smallwood Cuevas says self-checkout lines are a freeway to theft.
In fact, self-checkout machines cause about 16 times more loss than cashier checkout stands, with an estimated $10 billion in annual losses attributed to the machines.
The senators proposed a law that sets a minimum staffing level of one worker for every 2 self-checkout machines, a law she says will lower theft and save jobs.
Lone workers have become easy targets of theft and violence, and they're too often forced to stock merchandise, operate checkout, cater to customers, all while trying to monitor their stores for retail theft.
Letitia Costa is a grocery store employee in Pinole and says she was beaten when 3 women attempted to walk out of the store without paying for their groceries.
At my store, I'm responsible for managing the entire self-checkout area. But I also get tasked with processing money orders, MoneyGram, and selling lottery tickets. And all these things take away from the time of monitoring and assisting the customers.
The Prosecutors Alliance of California says store staffs deter thefts better than the meager 10% of people who get caught.
For those of us in law enforcement, we understand that deterrence comes from the fear of getting caught, not from the harshness of the punishment.
Shoppers we met say the proposed law probably needs to be refined and negotiated.
In a way, I think it's a start. Yes, it kind of forces the businesses to think about it more than just kind of letting it go.
Whether or not it needs to be an actual law, that would be a secondary question for me. I would have to look into that one.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, the Boy Scouts are going by a different name. They will now be Scouting America. This comes as the organization is emerging from bankruptcy following a flood of sexual abuse claims. The president and chief executive officer said in the next 100 years, we want any youth in America to feel very, very welcome. The organization began allowing gay youth in 2013. They have been the Boy Scouts for their entire 114-year history. They are now Scouting America.
All right, I'm guilty of this one. Don't just rub that apple on your shirt and bite into it. Why you should always wash your fruit and what works best.
And want to know an easy way to lower your risk for dementia? Researchers say just a spoonful of olive oil a day. Now, if you see news happening or you'd like to share a story idea with us, click Report It in the WRAL News app.
Noon with a live look right there at the Museum of Natural Sciences, right in downtown Raleigh. Those are some puffy clouds up there, blue skies. It's 80 degrees outside as you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
It's going to be another very warm day. Well, there are plenty of fruits and vegetables in season right now, and they can be a great addition to any meal. But before you take that first bite, it's important to wash them first. Jeff, are you listening? A registered dietitian says the most common bacteria found on fruits and vegetables include Salmonella, anyone? E. coli, Listeria, all of which can make you sick. Common symptoms include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. And in severe cases, you could be hospitalized. So the best way to wash your fruits and vegetables, a dietitian recommends just run them under cold water. If there's some dirt, maybe use a brush. You don't want to wash the fruits and vegetables right after you buy them, though. It's best to do it right before you plan to use them. That way it doesn't impact the texture or flavor.
There's really no need to necessarily soak it in vinegar. I've seen some recommendations for baking soda. Of course, there's commercial products that some people like to use to kind of get the wax or the potential pesticides off of the fruits and vegetables. And that's, certainly your own personal preference. But, usually just, running water is going to be the best way.
But your shirt, napkin doesn't really cut it. She also suggests removing any bruised or damaged areas from the fruit or vegetable ahead of time to help preserve their shelf life.
All right, when you say it all like that, okay, I'll wash it. Harvard researchers say a new study suggests a daily spoonful of olive oil could lower the risk of dying from dementia. The study analyzed more than 92,000 adults for nearly 3 decades. Participants consumed at least 7 grams of olive oil a day, and the average age of the participants, 56. When researchers followed up, they found the adults who consumed a tablespoon of olive oil per day had a 28% lower risk of dementia-related death. An event today at State Farmers Markets will give you a chance to learn about local resources for the aging. A celebration of Older Americans Month starts at 1:30 this afternoon. Representatives from the state DHHS will be there sharing information about how to keep older people active in their communities. They will also be able to answer questions about Medicare enrollment.
Okay, take a trip down memory lane in this Radio Flyer replica. Later, how you could become the new owner of this eye-catching ride.
Plus, take a trip down this memory lane. Get ready for the NC Eat and Play Retro Festival. We'll talk live with the people behind this year's event that is sure to give you flashbacks to the 70s.
Get ready for a fun event that's sure to bring back some great memories for those of you of a certain age and produce some groovy vibes right here in the Triangle. Joining us to talk about NC Eat and Play's Peace, Love, and Haven, a retro festival that's coming up on May 19th. We have Megan Nichols, the founder of the popular social media channel NC Eat and Play and NC Eat and Play magazine. We also have Leslie Logan Brown. She's the owner of Haven of Nightdale. So Megan, we'll start with you. NC Eat and Play, known for hosting great events that center around food and fun and Southern hospitality. What inspired you to come up with a retro festival?
Well, we really love to host really exciting events at Haven Farm centered around food, but our team felt like it was a really good idea to do one centered around music. And we wanted to take it a step further by theming it in a fun way that encouraged people to dress up, come shopping, just really vibe out with their friends.
And you picked the 70s.
We did, which I know nothing about, but I'm excited to pretend.
It is a whole vibe for sure. Okay, Leslie, your venue in Knightdale is called Haven, and it's known for some of these retro vibes. Talk about what people can expect at this festival.
Awesome. So Haven is already a place where we really focus on peace and love and spirit-driven experiences that can really pull you back into joy and laughter and good memories. So this festival is going to focus on vintage market vendors. We're going to have live music that's going to take you back to the 70s. We're going to have a DJ that's going to be really kicking off the vibe. We'll have activities that are free and activities that are for extra cost, like flower crowns and bubbles and all the fun things that really take you back to the 70s.
And no doubt there will be a huge catalog of music to choose from.
So
yeah,
much.
to set the soundtrack for this party. Okay, Megan, let's talk about the food. What can people expect?
Yeah, so all of the music and the fun musical performances are included in admission. We'll also have some great food trucks set up because NC Eat and Play has to bring the food. We'll have vendors like Smith Smokehouse and Smoothies, some great vegan options from trucks like Soul's Kitchen. It's going to be a really delicious and fun time.
Okay, I'm hungry already. So the Retro Festival attire, should people show up in their best 70s outfits?
So 70s attire is not required, but it is encouraged.
Fun, yeah.
Because it's fun, and we are also going to feature our favorite grooviest looks in the next issue of NC Eat and Play magazine.
All right, so yeah, get your bell bottoms on, maybe some tie-dye stuff, right? All right, so where can people get tickets?
At nceatandplay.com/retro. Tickets are $15. We kept it really affordable, and kids 12 and under are free, and they'll have a fun time with the bounce houses and bubble zone, so it's family friendly.
Yes. Cross our fingers that we get 70-degree weather for that time of year. We'll see on May 19th. But the Peace, Love, and Haven Retro Festival happening Sunday, May 19th, 11 to 5 p.m. Get your tickets now. Megan and Leslie, so great to talk with you. All right, and peace out. Good luck with your event. Thank you. Jeff, Elizabeth.
Hey, we are talking peace and love for Mother's Day coming up, right? We're getting an early look at Mother's Day because it's so crummy this week. So far it has been anyway. We want to look ahead, right, Kat?
Mother's Day really looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not going to be hot. It's not going to be humid. It's going to be spring-like. We have a small chance for storms, but it's not looking like a washout day. And Saturday looks absolutely beautiful if you wanted to do anything outside with Mom. So let's talk about this big cold front that's coming our way. We've got above normal temperatures today, upper 80s for highs. Tomorrow, we're back in the low 90s, certainly above normal for this time of year. It's as we get into Friday that temperatures begin to fall, and that trend kicks in over the weekend. High temperatures only in the 70s, lows in the 50s again this weekend, and we could even see these below normal temperatures last into early next week. We still have this dip in the jet stream, or trough as we call it, in place early next week. The muggy meter is going to be dropping as well. You've noticed, I'm sure, it feels more humid outside this week, and it stays humid through Thursday, but that begins to change Friday, and then over the weekend we get that nice refreshing feel to the air back. But it's all coming with this cold front, and unfortunately this is going to be the same system along with a new area of low pressure that helps to bring our severe weather threat to us on Thursday. Let's detail the severe storm threats. It's a low risk today and tomorrow, a level 1 severe storm risk. I just don't think we're going to see very many storms today, but we've got a ripe environment, so any storms that are able to develop could be strong over the next 24 hours. As we get into Thursday, that's when we've got a level 2 risk, and Thursday is now a WRAL weather alert day. The dual Doppler 5000 radar, nice and quiet at this hour, and I think it's going to stay quiet through much of the afternoon. It's as we get toward 8-9 o'clock that we could begin to see a few isolated storms develop, maybe as early as 7 o'clock, but you should have some dry weather up until then. And then early tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to more cloud cover to kick off the day, and during the day, it's a small chance for rain. We will have about a 40% chance for storms, though. As we get into the late afternoon and evening hours tomorrow, we could see a few complexes of storms develop. The spacing on that, it really could pop up anywhere in our viewing area. For highs tomorrow, we're talking low 90s for everyone, and that's the reason why we've got a level 1 severe weather threat again tomorrow. The air is hot, it is humid, and that means it is energized. So any storms that develop could strengthen quickly. Damaging wind gusts and hail would be the concerns with any severe storms over the next couple of days. We will We'll watch Thursday, though, perhaps to add a tornado threat to that. So stay tuned for updates. We'll get in some new high-resolution model data that's an important part of the forecasting equation, and I'll have that for you starting at 4 on WRAL. Friday, we keep in the chance for some scattered thunderstorms, and then Saturday looks to be our driest day of the weekend. A small chance for rain overnight Saturday and a small chance into Sunday as well. High temperatures next week should rebound a bit, but we're not talking 90s just yet. Low 80s for next Monday. We'll hold on to these spring-like temperatures as long as we can, in my opinion.
Thanks, Kat. The quest for the fountain of youth could cost you a pretty penny at one fitness chain. The price tag, that even made our producer do a double take.
First, here's a look at your winning Powerball numbers: 7, 23, 24, 56, 60, 25. The power play is 2 and the Powerball 25. Well, as we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
Yeah, a dump truck and a gasoline truck crashed head-on near Mile Plantation Road and Old Balcom Road in Wake County. Hazmat crews are working to clean up a 10-gallon fuel spill there. The Department of Transportation expects the road to be closed until 3 this afternoon. We are working to learn more about what caused the crash and if anyone was injured.
A Fuquay Varina man is charged with murder after a woman's body was found near Raleigh. The body of Tyra Bennett was found in the woods on Camley Avenue a little after 11 yesterday morning. Noah Lorenzetti was arrested by Wake County deputies today. He is in the jail without bond.
Adult film actress Stormy Daniels is expected to testify further in a New York courtroom today in the hush money trial of former President Donald Trump. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records. The charges are related to payments to Daniels in the lead up to the 2016 election.
A high-end fitness chain is launching a new program aimed at improving overall health and longevity. Optimized by Equinox is a personalized health program that includes everything from personal training and nutrition plans to sleep coaching and massage therapy. It's part of the fast-growing market for longevity and wellness. Equinox will run its own battery of fitness tests, including VO2 max, strength, and movement range twice a year. The new program costs $3,000 a month for a minimum of 6 months. And get this, the fee does not include an Equinox gym membership. If you add that in, the total is more around $40,000 or so for the year to get all that. So you can live 100 healthy years, they say.
3,000 doesn't count in for the gym membership? Goodness.
They said 20,000 people are on the wait list for that.
That is,
they got
that
money
is a
to
lot.
burn.
That is a lot. Hey, if you ever dreamed of owning a one-of-a-kind vehicle, you likely won't find one more unique than this one. One of the cars being offered at auction in Alaska.
It's so much fun to watch people because they smile and they wave and they take pictures.
It's a wagon. You could say that this vehicle hauls a lot of childhood memories. Aww. The Radio Flyer car was built by Fred Keller. He used to build airplanes for a living. Underneath